All right, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Colonel.
My name is Lieutenant Colonel Larry Hallstrom, and we are from Manual High School, and of course we are doing the Veterans History Project. It is December 5th, and today I have with me
Shelby Grow.
And Shelby Grow is one of our cadets at Manual High School also.
Glad to know you.
And so, Mr. Wenzel, we are going to go ahead and get started.
Where and when were you born?
Where was I born?
Yes, and when?
Marshfield, Wisconsin. November 14th, 1925.
What did your parents do and how many siblings did you have?
What was your parents' occupation when you were growing up, and then how many brothers and sisters did you have?
My father was a butcher. My mother raised a family and had brothers and sisters. I had one brother and two sisters. I still got them. And my mother during the war worked in the motor works where she wound motors for the government. And I grew up there in Marshfield until my senior year in high school, and that's when we moved to Wausau. And got over there. Of course, I played basketball in Marshfield, and then I moved all the way through, and I had a girlfriend there, and I was leaving that town. Then I wanted to stay in Marshfield, but nobody wanted me. So I came back and lived with my parents in Wausau. It's the best thing I ever did. But then went on to school there, high school, my senior year. Played basketball, all conference, high score, big dealie, and everything was just fine. And then of course it comes to a time when I get to be 17, 18. And Uncle Sam calls me, and I get the notice. So the first thing I did was went right down to the post office at the Air Force recruiting and said, "Can I get in?" Yes, he sat down. Okay, I sat right down. He said, "Look at this." I said, "What is it? Can you see these numbers on here?" "What numbers?" "You're colorblind. No go." So that was the end of that. Then I tried to get into the paratroopers, and too tall. So then I just became an ordinary old foot soldier, and went down to Milwaukee and got examined, and it's okay you're all set to go. And let's see, then of course I saw my first burlesque show there, never forget that. Anyhow, then I came home and had a few months to go yet, so I got a job at the place where they made windows, screens and window screens. So I got a job making screens. That was a lot of fun too. And so then I got called and went to Fort Sheridan. From Fort Sheridan, went down out to Little Rock, Arkansas, Camp Robinson. And spent it was a regular 13-week deal, training. And in June, officer came into our barracks and said, reported to us that they had made the crossing and they invaded in France, and let us know about that, and that was a real big deal there then, I tell you. I mean, in fact, I look back now and I think, by golly, I'm glad those guys are going to go. And I came a little later. So then, after that, I got a 10-day delay en route, and came home, and saw my grandmother for the last time, and had a big time for about 10 days, and then I went back to Fort Sheridan. From there, they sent me to Paris, Texas, where Camp Maxey, where I was joined the 99th Division. I was in Company C, 394th, and went through some training for about a month or so, and I think it was approximately July, August Yeah, sometime in August we left and left Maxie and went to Camp Miles Standish up in Massachusetts, and right out of Boston. And that the picture you see of me on here, that was taken at the USO in Boston. Some guy came up to me and said, "Let me take your picture. I'll send it to your parents." I says, "Okay, good." So I struck a pose, and it came home, and I've got it. Still got it to this day. So anyhow, and
So you actually enlisted?
no,
No, because they said no because you were colorblind.
yeah, I was drafted.
And then you were
I
drafted.
was waiting for them to draft me.
I see.
That's when I worked in the place where they made screens and things.
Okay, so you were trying to enlist once the war,
Correct.
and they said sorry,
Yeah.
and then you were drafted. What did you think when you were trying to enlist, they said no, you knew your draft notice was going to come? What was your thoughts? What were you thinking?
Well, what was I thinking? Actually, I don't remember. Well, all I can remember was I'll be going.
Yeah,
So that was it.
yeah,
There was nothing I could do about it,
sure.
like everybody else. So,
Yeah.
and of course, I went through everything. Basic training. It wasn't bad. I mean, I was a big gung ho boy at basic training. In fact, I was a squad leader, and I thought, gee whiz, when I get to where we're going, I'll probably be a squad leader. No way. So I was too late coming into Maxie. See, everything was all taken up already.
Right.
And in fact, I didn't know. You didn't know anybody, but by the time you got to know some of the people, you were on your way out. It took about 3-4 days. A big train going all the way out there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we played on the Company C got a basketball team.
I saw that.
That was a real. I got a picture of that in there. Anyhow, we won the regimental championship. So and then after that, we went and saw a lot of VD movies. And I didn't have a date with a girl after I saw those. Anyhow, it was really, I mean, very, very thoughtful thing to do. And then, of course, they had if you're ever captured, blah, 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 they told us about what to do and everything. And very good. And then we pulled out, I would think, must have been, got on boats. I think we were there about 10 days or a week or two, something like that. And we got on boats. We got on the Excelsior 2. Boy, that was a stinking barge, I tell you. And I got seasick and rolled all over the place. And finally after 10 days, we got to Le Havre, France. And, or no, not to Le Havre. Went to England first. Liverpool, or not to Liverpool, but the south of France, south of England. I remember a little town, West Bay it was called. We were billeted there for, I think it was about 2 weeks, I think. In fact, I asked some old fellow I met on the street, I says, where's the dry cleaner so I get some clothes cleaned? He told me where it was. I said, how long will it take? He says, a fortnight. I said, how long is that? He says, 2 weeks. He says, forget it. Anyhow, I got buddied up with a guy, and we went to the next little town, Bridport, I think it was, every night, and got fish and chips. Had to roll up newspaper to a cone. They dumped the fish in there and the French fries. They never tasted better in my life. I said, I never got better fish and chips than over here. So then anyhow, we got to going. Got on the boat and left. And I found out later I had a cousin who's over in England. He was a flew B-24s. and he managed to get to where I was after I left.
Mm.
And he said, after talking to him after I got back over the years, he said, yeah, this guy told me, he says, he's off to a bad place, he said. So, anyhow, we went to docked at Le Havre, and they didn't have any, didn't have any docking things very good, you know, anyway, just got it off the boat and off and land onto trucks, and it was raining and nasty, and headed right toward through France. And then, let's see, after we got to France, let's see, where was I then? Oh, I saw my first buzz bomb getting into Belgium. I think it was in Belgium, and I think it was in Belgium. We billeted in there for a couple of days. And I remember we went to I think the Ardennes. I think that was in Germany, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. The Ardennes, Forest?
Yeah, Forest. We were billeted in there, and we stayed in there for about couple of weeks. Nothing happened. We just dug holes in the ground, put boards over the top. In fact, I found out later, I got pictures showing those boards over the logs over this hole in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I got that on my computer. And we were in there, and then about the 16th, 15th, 16th December it was, so I celebrated my birthday and Thanksgiving there. And I was in my dugout sleeping. Finally it woke me up and heard boom, 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 boom. I thought, boy, our artillery's making a lot of noise. So after it stopped, it got out, holes all around it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where I found out this one guy sat on the edge of his foxhole and he got decapitated. Should have done that. Very nice guy too. Anyhow, then he sent us out on patrol. First time out on patrol. So we I think our second lieutenant, very nice guy, Matthews, his name was. He says, now don't call me Matt. Don't call me Lieutenant. Just call me Matt. I got a kick out of that. So we all headed out there. So we got maybe 100 yards or something like that in the woods, and walking in, find nothing, and all of a sudden, burp gun went off. Everybody hits the ground. Okay, we lay there for a while, and I stuck my head up and looked around, saw my BAR man, got up with his gun in hand, with his BAR in his hand. I can still see them just today, it's just as clear as a bell. He shot the burp gun at him, and down he went. Mm. And it wasn't about 10, 15 minutes later, didn't hear anything anymore. I didn't see where anybody was. I looked up around, there was snow on the ground. Mm-hmm. So I turned around and saw our tracks, and I tracked it back to the CP. And he said, oh, gee, Ray, good to see you. I thought you got killed. Yeah. So anyhow, after that, wasn't maybe a day or two, they sent us to, here we go. They sent us to this Washington McGraben. We were over here in the woods over in here, mm-hmm. And we came down this road. This is the corner, Washington McGraben. Down this road. This is the road to Germany. Mm-hmm. Gets down here. This is German troops come up there. I was stationed in this house upstairs. Mm. Some of the other fellows were in these houses, and I don't know, some of them scattered around other places. I don't know. Anyhow, this was on the 16th, 17th, 16th, I think it was. And we were up there, and nothing was happening, but you know something was going to. And I came down the stairs and was talking to the lieutenant, the head of the, he was the basketball coach too, by the way. Mm. And he said he was meeting with the other colonels or lieutenants and stuff. So he said, I'm taking the heavy weapons and taking off. But we'll come back and save you, you know. Never saw him again. Anyhow, then the time came when they started coming up this road.
Mm-hmm.
Came up this road, and I was up here, and I was shooting the Germans in the woods over here, and I don't know, I must have shot about 3-4 clips, I don't remember. And finally, got some whiz bangs into the house too. There were big concrete buildings. In other words, they were called, let's see, I forget what they named them, export places where they traded and everything during the war.
Okay.
And so then the sergeant, my sergeant, the buck sergeant of the squad, he came up with me. And as he no sooner got there, and one of these tanks, here's the tank. Here's the tank that moved up. First he moved up into this building here. We were still up there.
Mm-hmm.
Moved into this building here and stuck his nose in there. Boom! Well, they got everybody in there. And then, while that was going on, this was lucky. I don't think the Japanese had ever done this. Had some young soldiers out right on the outside of this building here where I was, and downstairs they were shouting, alles raus, which meant everybody out. So this is where an 19-year-old, just turned 19, says to the sergeant, oh, let's just stay here. Maybe wait till they go away. He says, no, he says, throw your gun down, we're going out. So we got out. I got out, of course he got out in the battle, and as soon as the soldiers were waiting for me, I took my galoshes, my watch, and whatever else I had, and started walking a ways a little bit in there, and another tank had moved up at the window I was shooting out of. And whambo, everything flew, and I got some shrapnel or concrete or something in my leg and hand. But it wasn't too bad, so then they took us over into some place over here in the woods. There's a cabin or something. They took us in there and they interrogated us, name, rank, and serial number, etc.
How many Americans did they take?
I don't remember. It was getting dark. I don't remember. It was probably, I would say about 45 or 50 of us. So they took us and interrogated us. Next morning, woke up, we were sleeping there, and they took us, started marching into Germany. And I had never seen so much stuff in my life, all the way from horse-drawn carts to tanks and marching soldiers. Everything. We were walking on the road there, and I guess we went to some place and waited and got a train, boxcars, got the Bahn. I remember got the Bahn, got a bowl of soup there, and then we stayed overnight in the barn. I think it was. It must have been about 100 of us or something like that, I would think. There's quite a few. But everything still was kind of a blur, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And to get back on the train again, I think we got 3 different trips before we got to, I remember, like I said, I looked out of the window one time and I saw off Schaffensburg, so I know I went through their town. And then we got to, after about the 3rd day, we finally got to Hammelburg. It's just like in Klink and Schultz and those boys. It's like they copied everything right there. There was Hammelburg right there. So we waited down there. This is just about, started going up the hill to Hammelburg, Stalag 13C. We got up there and just outside of the camp, and they start giving us some bread. I got a chunk of bread, First I had to eat since from bomb, I think it was. I did see some guys at this train stop one time. Some guys jumped off and started eating some bones they found in a garbage can. But I wasn't that hungry yet. Anyhow, we're at Hammelburg, ate the bread. And the guy come over to me and he says, "Ray, I'm sick. I can't eat my bread." So he gave me my bread at Christmas. And I said, "Boy, thanks that's a Christmas present I ever had. You sure you don't want it?" "No, I can't eat candy. I'm sick." So I said, "Okay." So then we went into camp, probably the next day or whenever it was, and they gave us a bowl of soup. I could only eat half of it because my stomach had shrunk up so much.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, in the camp, let's see what happened there. Oh, it was, of course, I had frostbitten feet. I could still see myself sitting on my bunk up on my top, and rubbing my feet, trying to keep them warm. Take my socks off, put them under me, and keep them warm.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to keep warm. And then, of course, they had a little sergeant, German sergeant. He says, "What's your name?" I says, "Wenzel." He says, "What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here." I said, "Oh yeah." I says, my folks moved out of this country, and I'm an American now. So anyhow, so that was real interesting.
Could you speak German?
Oh, not very much.
Not very much.
I tell you a German song like mit den Händen klapp klapp klapp, mit den Füßen tap tap tap, du bist mein, ich bin dein, morgen soll der Hochzeit sein. You know what that means?
No, I have no idea.
Tomorrow will be our wedding day. With my hand clap clap clap, feet tap tap tap. Yeah, so,
Did you sing that to the guard?
Oh, I don't think so.
How did you find that the German guards are in the prison camp? How did they treat you and the other prisoners?
Oh, I think they treated us fairly well. I thought, because I mean, I compared it always with Japanese.
Mm.
I mean, boy, I sure was glad I didn't go that route.
Yes.
So anyhow, after about a month or so, I think that one guy was. Let's see, I forget what that was now. Anyhow, after a while, how many weeks it was, I think it was about in February, they took all the private first class and privates and took us in trucks and drove us to Würzburg,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful town.
Mm-hmm.
There we were stationed in a gymnasium next to some big warehouses. Our job was to load and unload box cars as they came in, and then every night they'd have an air raid. The RAF was on their way to Schweinfurt to bomb ball bearing works over there. So they would do it every night, and every night we'd go down they'd take us down into the cellar of these big buildings, so we'd be out of, So every night we went down there, every night. Just one night we all went down there. Okay, all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. And then, but that was every resort going out. And here, everything was burning, and I could still say that it just sucked the air out of my lungs. I mean, it just, I then was going to catch my breath, and finally I got down low enough, and I wasn't bad, so that probably went away after a bit. And then, come to find out that the gymnasium we stayed in, that I was burned down to the ground. Mm. There were about 10 guys that didn't come down for the air raid because every night they wouldn't have nothing. Alles kaputt, they would say. And so they kept us there working for, I don't know, must have been about a couple of weeks or so. And we were doing crazy things, like they have us in a big, like a barracks, excuse me, and in the middle of the barracks, like, it has grain piled up like this. And we take a broom-like thing with a wooden, just a wooden thing on a broom handle, and you brush the seeds or the grain one way, and then come down around and around, brush it the other way, go back and forth. I think that was to keep it so it wouldn't spoil, mildew or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So after most of that, I had some air raids on. I was taking stuff out of a train, a boxcar, taking it in, into the warehouse. All of a sudden, there's a big old SS guy standing there, pulls his gun out on me. He's blah 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 blah. He made it sounded like I wasn't moving fast enough. He gives me a shot like that, and I go, "Oh, I was just weak as hell." I just slid across the floor over. I can still see him. I'm laying on the floor. He's waving his gun in the air, and I thought, well, what's he going to do with the rest of me? So he did. He put it back in and walked away. So anyhow, let's see. Oh yeah, we'd steal bread from them. Some guys worked in the bakery, and I got to work there once too. But then what you do is get your overcoat. You stick one loaf down, one loose sleeve down the other. You walk out there and let you put the bread in. And then I'd steal socks, and then we'd trade socks for bread and cigarettes and whatever. So it was kind of a fun thing.
Oh.
But then I'll tell you what happened. We got into some dehydrated sugar beets. And boy, oh, that's great stuff, man. We dehydrated sugar beets. Well, you know, when them hit your belly, they start absorbing water. You know what's going to happen. Boy, I'll tell you, I did. Learned a lesson there, so anyhow. Then after that, working, and work. And then they started, we could hear our artillery coming. And then some guard came and rounded us all up and started marching toward the Russians. We knew that they're going the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when 5 of us slipped off into the woods. And then they went on, and here we were out on our own, So we were wandering around there, just outside of Würzburg, and we were walking there. Some old guy up in the hill was waving at us. He was waving like this. He was digging a hole in the side of a hill and had a burlap bag across, or a curtain across it. He was doing that for his family in case he had to have an air raid.
Mm-hmm.
So he made a motion that we could stay there. 5 of us. We just had just enough room. One guy was back here, laying back, one guy over here, one here, over here. Just enough to get in there. So we just thought, well, that's great. Then he had 2 boys. He sent them up with some water and food for us too. So. And it's one day, one of the guys thought he was going to go look around, so he went out around looking around and never didn't come back. So we drew straws to see who would go look for him. I lost. So I started wandering off too. And as I wandered off, there was a group of young, what do you call them, kids.
Mm-hmm.
They were, I don't know what you call them. Yeah.
Yeah, the Hitler Youth.
Oh yeah, Hitler Youth, yeah, that's what it was. They said, come with us, come. I said, no, my mantle, my blanket, I got to get my blanket. So I took off like a scalded dog, and I didn't went. Then I went. I often wondered what would happen if I went along with them. Anyhow, I got back, then the guy that came back, it was Don, he had come back too. So anyhow, we were in there about 2 days, 3 days I think it was. And one day in the morning or afternoon it was, the boys came running up to the dugout where we were, and he said, Americans come. So we jumped up and looked out here, down on the road. I can still see I stand on top of his Jeep, a drunken tech sergeant waving a .45 in the air, and he said, "I captured the town." And so we got all the D-bars he had there, and they're given to the boys and things whatever they had. So he started taking us back toward the Americans, and you could see these German women putting white sheets out the window, showing signs of surrender. So we were with the, I don't know, 48th or 42nd Division, I guess, for about a week, but they didn't know what to do with us. So we thought, well, there's an airport just down the road a piece, so we hopped a ride down to the airport. We got on they gave us a ride on the C-47 into Paris. We were did we get to Paris? We just get another plane and go to America. So then we got to Paris. Oh, I was beat. I think it was a hotel room, fancy hotel room for us, and we stayed there. Two or three of the guys, or all of them, thought, well, they went on in the town, borrowed some money from the Red Cross. I said, I don't want to. I'm too tired. I went to bed. So the next morning, I get up, go down, have breakfast. Sitting there eating breakfast, and what happens was I look over at somebody over in the corner there reading the paper. He opened it up. The headlines were on the front there. So, Roosevelt dies. Mm. So I knew where I was and what time it was. So then it wasn't very long. We didn't even get done with our breakfast. In come a couple of officers of I don't know what rank, but they said, "Oh, you know, got to go to America. You know, we're going to go to Camp Lucky Strike." So that Camp Lucky Strike.
Do I know?
That's at Le Havre. It was at Le Havre then. So they sent us to Camp Lucky Strike. And everybody fattened us up on steak and chicken for about 2 weeks, you know, and find out what's wrong with you and everything. And I told them right off, I says, I got frozen feet. Of course, they were just frostbitten, I guess, but they still bothered me. It tingled and burned and cold and everything else. So he marked that down, and I said, I got a bad back and this and that, because my uncle was in the service when he was in World War I. He said, be sure to tell him what's all wrong with you, even if it isn't. So
he's right.
Yeah, so I told him what was wrong with me. And then what happened was, with that frostbitten feet, I'll go into that little detail with that. Through the years, it got worse. And kept coming up. It didn't bother me. It bother me. I could live all fine. I mean, it bothered. The only thing was it was there. Mm-hmm. And it took about 60 years for it to come up to my legs and it told me I had proverbial neuropathy, which meant I had damaged nerve endings in my feet. And my doctor at the VA says what will happen is, he says, it goes up your leg and then also to the farthest point in your body. So I can still put my hearing aids in, but it's numb. Mm. So I got 100% total and permanent now. So anyhow, after we got coming back to Paris, France, and Camp Lucky Strike. After Lucky Strike, they sent us back to the States. We got on the boat, the USS Argentina, converted luxury liner. Boy, that was just a piece of cake compared to that Excelsior too. It went back took about 6 or 7 days, I think. Got back to the States, back to Fort Sheridan. Fort Sheridan, they got a 60-day delay, and wasn't home all one night. And so after about 60 days almost, my buddy came home. So I got another 10 days. So we went around the countryside visiting relatives, hitchhiking here and there and everything. So which is great. So then I got back back to Fort Sheridan. Sheridan sent us to Florida for rehab. Down there for 10 days. That's when I got my medals and lost them all. I had them in my suitcase on the truck. Truck took off without me getting my bag out there. But anyhow, I got those back. And it's to Sturgeon Bay to guard Germans while they picked cherries. First encounter with jiggers. Oh boy, it was terrible. So after that, I came back, and Sheridan sent us up to Wetmore, Michigan, to guard German soldiers while they cut pulpwood. This was in probably October of 45. So I was guarding them at the tower, and it was just a garden job. And then my promotion came through. I got to be a corporal. And so then it wasn't long after that. Oh, I got to be a corporal. Then I was put in charge of the motor pool. 2 German soldiers, prisoners, were mechanics. They took care of that, took care of the trucks. All I did was write out trip tickets and slept it most of the time. And because I got a promotion. And so after the promotion, it wasn't very long. Honeymoon was over. I was going to come down for a discharge. So I got discharged in November. I think it was November 25th, 1940. I'll take these dates.
Yep.
1945.
45.
Yeah. So that was about the end of it, and then my service, and then I got involved with the 99th Division, and they had this, they had their book, newspapers, and just how you go on it one year, every year they have this reunion. When you go to 1 or 2, you've seen them all. So anyhow, I got to meet up with Roger Foreigner. He was one of the 5 that escaped with us. Found out, he found me, and he was living up in Genoa. So we got together pretty much and saw each other back and forth. And then he was the head of the archives on the 99th Division. So he says, "Ray, do you want to go along? They're going to write a book about the 99th Division." I said, "Yeah," so he could drive and whatever. So we picked up the guy that's going to write the book. What do you call those? Historian. Yeah. And picked him up, and we went out to Washington. Got in the archives there. That's where I found a lot of stuff. Like when I got this, wrote my chronological history. I got a lot of information because I picked up things from there that were pertaining to the 99.
Sure.
And then I used that. Some of it I knew. I knew when my birthday was and stuff like that. But anyhow, we had to. And after we went to Washington D.C., we went to Carlisle Barracks. Carlisle Barracks. That's where I saw all these flying eagles.
There's a lot of them there.
Anyhow, they had an archive. They had an archives there. And then I picked up this. Probably wouldn't be important to anybody but me. This is a morning report, December 15th, 1944. It lists everybody in Company C. And you can see on there, some of it's got details up there, what killed in action, POW. On the next page, it shows my name with POW on it. After I got home, I sent it to some of the guys. This little story about this one fella, Billy C. Logue. He never cussed. He'd say, John Brown, the John Brown thing, was from Waco, Texas. Went to Baylor. And he was one of these, what do you call it, went to school, IRS. I forget the initials. All these guys, they picked them up, sent them to college. Instead of sending them to college for a while, they pulled them all out, drafted them, and sent them into these infantry you heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I forgot what they call them, but they went to school. Anyhow, that's where I met Billy C. Loeb. He was in the same thing. He was captured with us, but he didn't stop him with slip into the woods like we did. He kept on going. And I kid him to this day. I says, you know, Billy C., if you'd have came with us, instead of waiting another 6 weeks to get out, you could have stepped off the train like I did in Wausau on VE Day in my mother's arms. And I'm telling you, it was a real tearjerker.
Mm-hmm. Of these men, that are on here,
Yeah.
is there any of them that you would consider, or you made lifelong friendships with from back then that you've kept in touch with?
No, not really. Let's see. Billy C. Loeb, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
That's one there that I remember. Yeah. The other ones I knew them, but I mean, they didn't get too close. I mean, Billy C. called me up, I guess, when we were out and everything, and so I'd send him some of this stuff and
Mm-hmm.
all this other stuff that I got. This is an article in the checkerboard showing a picture of me and my sergeant. 51 years later, I met him up in.
The sergeant here at a reunion? Was it at a reunion?
No, that was at his house.
Oh, at his house. Okay.
Yeah, he's gone out. Everybody's gone. Oh, four of the guys that escaped, 5 of the guys that escaped, I'm the only one left.
Mm.
And then there's Billy C. Loeb. He died too. He died. So I'm 87, on the way to heaven.
Mm. Well, that's a good place to know you're going.
Yeah.
The thing I was going to ask you also, when you first got to France,
Yeah.
were you able to communicate back home with your family?
No,
No.
never got to. Write VE letters. You know,
Yes.
Female. But that's about all.
What does V-mail mean? What did the V stand for?
I think it's V. It's V. You write a letter. They get the regular form for it.
Mm-hmm.
You get form. You write your letter. It gets censored, and it's copied. And it's just almost like a email. Then you send it back to the States, and then it's sent to the people.
Did you get letters?
Oh yeah.
Lots?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, my old coach used to wrote something to him, and I stopped and saw him after I got out of service, and he said, "What'd you do? Come and stop, pick up your mail?"
Yeah.
So that's it.
I mean, I know you were obviously happy, and
Oh yeah, VE Day came when I got off the train.
mm-hmm.
I was actually VE Day that I did, and my feelings are joyful, of course.
Yeah.
Meet my mother and my dad and everybody.
Pretty amazing that VE Day was the day that you got home.
That's right.
That's pretty ironic.
Then, yeah. Of course, then after I got out of service, about a year out, I come down with TB. Got service connected on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I got a job working in on-the-job training, and I ended up being a commercial artist, art director on multi-ad, and then etc. I got and then I got married. Got 14 years with her, got 4 kids, and she took off and left me with the 4 kids.
Mm.
There she is. That's the woman that married me with 4 kids.
Mm.
And I don't know what I'd do without her anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, every man needs a good woman.
Oh, yes.
There's no doubt about that.
If I didn't have her, I'd be in a nursing home today.
Yeah.
I mean, I can do things, but I can't do things.
All right, so explain to us in 1994 your trip back.
Trip back, okay. We got Roger, myself, and Frank's son. Frank was a friend of Roger's, and of course he was over there too, but he was a prisoner of war too. Anyhow, we all got on the plane, went to, I don't know what we did in Belgium too much, because we went into Germany.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we met up with the two boys. For the first time I'd seen them too, so we met them and his wives, and they took us all around. They took us to Hammelburg,
Mm-hmm.
up to the camp. Barracks were all gone. All they had was the concrete, or the brick buildings that were still barracks that were there.
Mm.
It was a German infantry training school. So that's what it was then. And then we went around there and saw them. That's when we went back to Belgium. That's when we, I'm a little fuzzy here with this here. We're the 99th Division. We had a celebration there when on December 17th, when at the Battle of the Bulge, they had a big ceremony there, and guns were firing and all that kind of stuff. And we met up with a bunch of people. In fact, I don't know. I think there was a couple of German soldiers there too.
Mm.
And let's see. Oh, then then that historian that I tell you about, he took us around showing us where all where the battles were and what was this, where we did that and where we did. In fact, I think I've still got this DVD. Oh, that's when he took us around. That's when he took me in a busload, all different places where some of the fellas were captured. So took me. We ended up where I was captured, in front of that building. 50 years to the day and the hour. That's a fact. That stuff too. But the house that I was in, nobody was living in that anyway. The two houses back there, people were actually living in them then. So, and it was a real nice trip. Then another place he took us. I forget the name of the town now. Took us to this one town where they were expecting us, and they were dedicating a aft track there, and it was in a park. Had a band playing. We started getting out of the truck bus. Da 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 da. Stars and Stripes Forever.
Sure.
And just this. I think of it today, and I still get goose pimples. And then there's a little girl. A little girl came up to me and handed me a card, and thanking me for my service, that thing like that. So I got her name and everything, and we corresponded back and forth for a while too. And of course I had an interpreter. I had an interpreter someplace. I forget how that all worked, but she had an interpreter over there, so we could send me a few little doodads from there, and then it was back to, and I think it was went back. Of course, I've not forgot about the stuff where I remember so well is what I related until I went back, and that isn't quite as strong anymore as what I related. So anyhow, let's see. Went to got back on the plane. Came back to the States again, and I left out a lot because I forgot. So anyhow.
Have you ever had the chance to visit the new, or fairly new, World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C.?
No.
Are you familiar with the honor flight?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think too much of that memorial. I don't think that it's just too much of, building. Of course, that's what they do with memorials, I guess, but I don't know.
I think you would really enjoy it,
Probably
would.
so.
the whole experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about going, and I thought about how I'm happy at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I get to so where I don't go. The only place I go anywhere, I got out there. I got the stairs. They got me a stair lift. A seat you sit down in, and it takes me downstairs. I can still make it up and down, but this is easier. So anyhow, you know, I would. I thought about it, and I thought, well, gee, I don't think so. It's nice, all right. I mean, to have that memorial. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I mean, could have done something more alive than a lot of dead concrete. That's all I got. Anyhow. So, anything else you want to ask me?
No, I think, sir, that was absolutely amazing.
It did back then were impressive.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, every once in a while I still see myself sitting up there in that window, looking out of the window, knowing they're coming. What are they going to do? Am I going to make it or not? You know? And then you see them bang, 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 bang. Of course, I don't know if I hit anybody or not, but we're shooting six clips at Germans over there. Cost the government on me about $2 million, I would say. I mean, after I got out, why they ex-POWs, they got anything they wanted practically. I mean, no. And that's what they did. My brother was in Korea. Of course, he wasn't during the Korea War, but he was in Japan after the war. He was accountant. He was an accountant. He worked for a guy like that. So anyhow, but he won't do nothing. I said, go to the VA. I said, even non-service connected, they got something for you. In fact, he's got bad knees, arthritis. He's got bad teeth, hernia. I mean, oh no, he's got 2 daughters up there taking care of him, so you know, he's up in Walsall there too.
When you left the Army, was it hard for you to adjust to civilian life again?
Get adjusted? No, I tell you, there's another thing. I got out of service. At that time they had the 5220 Club, which gave me $20 a week for 52 weeks. So I got adjusted on that. But I didn't. I only took it for about 3 months, and then I got a job. And then I went on the job training too, VA. You know, on my lifetime, I had 14 years of marriage. It was pretty bad. I had 4 kids, and she runs off and leaves me. And there's my honey bunch. I tell you, she's, to this day,
A Christmas present.
yeah, I do.
There's not much we need anymore.
Ah, sure there is.
We've been through all the watches, diamonds, pearls. I mean, didn't we, honey?
Yeah, we've been through all that, haven't we? Yeah.
My son,
3 daughters and a son.
he was, we sent him to college, wanted to kick him a veterinarian.
Mm-hmm.
He was down in Jacksonville, Florida. He was married. Of course, he got divorced too. She didn't want him anymore. And then he was going with a girl, and they were out driving, and he was driving on using a 2-laner, and with a medium in here, you know, come from the other way. And he's driving there. Another car from the other way hit that Meridian. The motor of that car flew out and landed in my son's lap. Can you talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time? Oh, that was the end of my son. It took 4 years to settle the estate. Oh boy. But then I find out this girl he was going with, wife, some friends of us told us about, he talked to them about her, and I don't know why he even stayed with her anymore. Anyhow, there he is right there.
Precious.
He's going down with me when I go, taking him along.
Taking him with you.
Yeah.